Welcome back to the Lap Down podcast. It's me, Alex. I'm here with Dan. We're ready for round 4? We're up to round 4 of the F1 season in 2024. We're off to Japan. Dan Jatovic, how are you doing, my friend?
I wish we were going to Japan.
Well, true.
Japan,
yeah.
that would be a real bucket list. But I'm good. I'm okay. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it. You know what? I think I might get up at 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday as well.
Well, I'm going to ruin your dreams on that because I'm pretty sure the race is at 5.
Wow.
So that's a little bit earlier for you to contend with.
I swear it said 6 when I looked on the...
Daylight savings has kicked in, big boy.
Oh, no way. Gutted. Oh, well, I'll evaluate my life choices closer to the weekend.
Well, I'll be watching that at 9 a.m. on Sunday at a normal hour. Thank you for that.
I will text you the result.
Phone, aeroplane mode. But, I mean, come on. Can we dare to dream that something else might blow up, or that maybe these new upgrades that Red Bull are apparently bringing to Suzuka they might Aston Martin themselves last year and start driving it backwards? Is that too much to ask for?
Yes.
Oh, that's a shame.
Thanks for listening. And
right
we'll
then.
See you next week.
That was episode 8. Tick it off. You can get in contact. Yeah. It feels like a safe bet, doesn't it, Red Bull upgrades? You feel like when your car is already that good, you're only going to bring stuff that you have tested and tested and tested and are 120% sure is better than what you had before. I don't think they're in a position to be trying stuff, a bit like what I think Mercedes are maybe doing at the minute.
Yeah, and if you bolt it on and it doesn't work in first practice, you go, okay, we'll just take it off then.
Yep.
And the other thing as well, like Ferrari and Carlos Sainz have had the audacity to poke the bear, haven't they? They've kicked the hornet's nest. They've upset all of the little bourbon-eating, custard cream drinking Red Bull employees in yeah, you could drink them. Like you would be able to. Like you would be able to create some kind of custard cream drink out of it. And they've upset them all. And it's just not going to go well for us, is it? Like Max is going to turn up. He's going to win by, I don't know, 34 seconds, and everyone's going to go, well, Formula One's crap again.
Yeah, it's happened. It's Gornsky. Yeah, I mean, look, we won't recover old ground on, oh my God, Red Bull are going to win again. But the fact that they're bringing upgrades in round 4 for a car that wins by, 2.5 weeks already is scary. I think I read somewhere that Aston Martin maybe have got something cooking, which is exciting because they've been there or thereabouts in that sort of upper mid battle, which has been nice, and it's been nice having genuinely, and it's that same joke, if you cover Max Verstappen and the racing from there is great. It has been, largely. We've seen some quite different 2 to 10 orders. Haas are in there. Haas actually don't look as bad as even they were saying they were going to be at the start of the year there. Whether or not that was like the world's best sandbagging from a new team principal, that he came in and he was like, don't look at us. This is not my problem. This is Gunther's problem. We're going to be garbage. Don't even look at us. Oh, what's that, P12? Hello.
Well, I think to be fair to them, I think a lot of the other teams have gone backwards. That's the other thing. Like AlphaTauri or whatever they're called now, I think they've gone backwards. Sauber have gone backwards. Williams haven't really moved. If anything, they probably have gone a little bit backwards from what we saw at the end of last year.
At least they've called it out, though.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that Haas have stumbled across something that works, or even just stayed where they were, and they've just ended up being a bit quicker than who they were racing last year. So, and they got 2 blokes behind the wheel that are pretty decent. They know what they're doing now, don't they? They know how to park the bus, so to speak, Magnussen style, and I mean Hulkenberg knows his way around a Formula One car.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see there was a wonderful bit of beef between the Hulk and like 12-year-old Ollie Behrman the other day, where Hulk basically answered a question from a reporter about like, should he be concerned about the Behrman coming into Nicky's Haas drive for next year? And he said like, oh well, yeah, I heard he was saying about how like slow I was, and if I was that slow, like when he was in a car that's supposed to be like the second fastest on the grid, why did it take him 5 laps to pass me? And it's like, g'day, hey, the Hulk.
Hello, Oliver.
I love it. It doesn't matter that you could literally be his dad. That's fine. Let's move on.
All I'm going to say, don't go around throwing shit around if you can't take it back. Doesn't matter how old you are.
Yep, it's fair. It's fair. I think Hulk seems like a good sport. I've never met the bloke, but he seems like a good sport, I think. I think he'd be up for it.
Take 0 shits as we learn.
Yeah, I think that's fine. But have you got any particular feelings about Suzuka? I'm going to do my usual thing. I quite enjoy driving it in F1 23, soon to be F1 24. EA, if you want to hook me up, please hook me up. I enjoy it as a track. I feel like it's got a nice mix of, slow and fast, and there's a bit of technical stuff in there, and it's good. It's cool that it goes under itself.
It's proper. It's proper at the end of the day. Like you can dial it back. You can talk about people that won there years ago. You can, as you said, it's the only figure of 8 track on the circuit, which is fun. It's got gravel traps, which are quite nice. There's a bit of jeopardy there for people to, if they cock up, which they rarely do. Like 130R has got to be one of the coolest corners on the circuit. I like it. It's undulating. It's got a Ferris wheel. The Japanese fans turn up with DRS spoilers on their hats, and therefore it's a 10 from me. It's right up there. If we were tier listing tracks, Suzuka would be top tier.
Yeah, no, I find it hard to disagree. I think you've got to. I would love to go to Japan as well, because I feel like the Japanese, when they like something, they go fucking hard on it. If they decide they like it, they are all in. There's no, oh yeah, I quite like that. You either have no interest or it's your life. And as you say, we've got front wing hats, DRS activated hats. Like, they know what's up. I'm excited for little Yuki. I find him really adorable, and it's cool that he's probably coming into this race weekend in the best position for a home race in terms of his ability in the car, and he's been driving well. He's got some points under his belt. He's looked quick. He's dusted Danny Rick. We know there's some asterisks on that so far, but he's winning that battle as it stands. Good chance for him to have a good weekend at home. He's got a cute helmet with a little character thing on the top of it, and it's a nice white helmet. I know we're going to talk a little bit about helmets and liveries later, but he is entitled to a cute helmet this weekend. The time zone's unfortunate, but I will watch that on catch up, and I'm quite looking forward to it. Who knows?
He's a good egg. He's a good egg, Yuki. And I wouldn't be surprised if he got points. Have you picked who's going to get a blue flag for this week? I thought you probably would have done. I mean, you're 3 from 3, so why not make it 4 from 4?
Yeah, the temptation to pick Yuki this week, just on the Sergio Perez Mexico 23 line of thinking, that okay, Perez at the time was maybe a little bit more desperate for needing results as well as wanting to impress at home. There is a little bit of a line of thought of, is Yuki going to be really wanting to impress at home, that he might just go a couple of percent beyond his means, and very quickly you're in the gravel. But no, he's safe. Yuki, he's going to have a nice weekend. He's going to finish P8. I'm giving blue flags. I wanted to do it to the whole team because they are garbage, but Zhou's getting blue flags from me this weekend. Because I don't think, yes, okay, it's not a good car, right? We've established that. But worse than that, their average pit stop this year is about 38 seconds. So it doesn't matter what Zhou does in that car. Yeah. He has to add 30 seconds minimum onto his race time. Suzuki usually a 1 or a 2 stopper. I don't have tyre knowledge like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to say I don't know.
You better pray for them that it's not a 2 stopper. Otherwise, we're sticking a minute penalty on both Zhou and Bottas, to be fair. But I think Bottas is a slightly better driver and will probably get a little bit more out of it. But sort yourselves out, lads. I don't think they've successfully completed a pit stop yet. And they got fined like 15 grand or something because one of their wheel nuts went pissing off down the pit lane. Like, come on now. It's the... Oh, yeah.
Did you see, and I'm not very educated with who people are. So this person that this clip came from might be incredibly famous, and therefore I probably should apologise for my ignorance, but I'm not going to because I don't care. But there was somebody who I assume was something to do with stake. I think, does Drake have some sharehold in it, or
there's a
something?
few of them, isn't there?
But anyway, there was somebody, and they were obviously doing some kind of live streaming type situation, and they kind of said along the lines of, I don't know why we bought the Formula One team. They should have listened to me, and we'd have bought an NBA team instead. I don't know who this person was, but I kind of pieced 2 and 2 together and thought he probably had some kind of influence in this world, and clearly just got kind of downtrodden. And they've bought they've bought a terrible Formula One team, haven't they? I'm going to go, for no real reason whatsoever.
Vibing it.
Pretty much. And I've thought about pressure. I've thought about home races. I've thought about bad luck. And it's not really kind of materialised for me, has it, so far? So I'm going to give it to the big LH.
Tell you what, you thought you lost credibility with the internet last week. Now you're going after Team LH44. If you want to get cancelled, you go after Swifty or Hamilton. There are your two options.
Done. Dunsky. To be honest with you, I feel like he's been a contender for a blue flag pretty much the entirety of this season so far anyway. So I'm learning, and undoubtedly he's probably going to have a barnstorming weekend. The upgrades on the Merc are probably going to work, and he's going to finish P3. And I'm going to go, well done, Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, I will reveal that I almost gave Lewis blue flags myself this week because I think, as much as they say they won't, the team is only going to continue favouring George Russell more and more throughout the year. Yeah, it's logical. It makes sense. Why would you not do that? I think if they're going to try anything risky on a car, they're going to try that on Lewis's car. They won't tell you they will, but it will happen. Lewis doesn't seem like he's been happy in that car at any point this year. You know, I think they had one good free practice where he was like, yeah, we are so back. And then the next free practice session that afternoon, he's like, well, we lost it. And you think, what did you do over lunch? Like, what did you do to this car? But yeah, no, I think it's a good shout. I'll back you on that. I think you might be in business on that. They
bank it.
Mercedes, by the way, got themselves in. We're not in a little bit of trouble, but they're a little hot water. Don't know if you saw. Speaking of Lewis Hamilton, their Lego tie-in tweet earlier.
Oh, I haven't.
It was just a bit of money-making ad stuff. They put a kind of a poster. It was A4 shaped up of Lego Lewis Hamilton, and obviously the new Lego Mercedes was on there and whatnot. Nice enough poster at first glance. And then people worked out really quickly that poster, for the most part, was AI generated, which they did not disclose as saying, this is fun, we put Lewis Hamilton in Lego into AI. They just presented that as a piece of artwork.
Oh, nice.
And it's not gone down brilliantly with some of the creative community that are suggesting that, bearing in mind that marketing is not included in the salary cap, not the salary cap, the cost cap, should we maybe have had a designer do that for you rather than sticking it in AI and then putting a couple extra layers on top? Like, it's a cross-up with Lego, and I don't know if you know about Lego, but they've got some cash as well. That you'd think...
I've heard of it. I have heard of it.
Yeah, it's from Scandi
They're
somewhere.
Dutch.
Yeah,
They're
something
Dutch.
like that. Yeah. There's like Dunstable or something is I think where Lego World is. But you'd think between these two mega corporations, we probably didn't need to use AI to generate a vaguely Japanese-looking cherry blossom road. Like,
no, but it is good though, isn't it? AI can be good.
Yeah, and it's one of these things where if you glance at this poster, at first glance you go, that's a nice poster, and you move on. And then someone goes, why did you make that in AI? And then you go back and everything jumps out at you, all the little AI quirks, like the building in the background looks like that section of Silverstone where you're going left, right, left, and the old sweepers, and you just think, there you go, that one. Bold choice. Choice from, and we'll talk about this in a future week when we don't have racing to talk about, I think. I have a lot of, I like from a sports media what Mercedes have done this year and a little bit last year in their approach to sports media. I won't go into it now, but their social work I think is generally very good. It's great fun that their social media admin's name is Daniel Paddock. That's superb. So we'll come back to that later. But yeah, just on the Lewis and Mercedes, just interesting to, come on lads, pay a designer surely. Who did pay a designer was McLaren. Well, they paid a designer for like 20% of the car because they're running a special livery this weekend.
Well, they've just stuck, so they put some stickers on it, mate. It's not a special livery, is it? Like, it just isn't. Like, they found a couple of gaps in the paintwork that weren't currently occupied by something else, and they've just put some decals on it, and they've gone. Probably on the same kind of thought process of the Lego one, because they've got a couple of Lego cars out, haven't they, McLaren? And somebody in the offices have probably just gone, it's bloody good fun sticking stickers on stuff, isn't it? And they've gone, you know what we should do? We should do that for Japan. And that's what they've done. I agree with you. Nice little kind of bit here and there, look good. And I mean, the McLaren car, of all of them, probably doesn't need the little bit of panache added to it for a race weekend. But, I mean, they don't half like kind of hyping up these special liveries for these things, don't they? It's not like they've turned up with kind of a cherry blossom like all over livery, or they've got the rising sun flag on the car somewhere. It's just gone, well, we'll just put a sticker on it and it'll do. A bit like the Red Bull stuff. That's all they do.
Yeah.
Put a couple of stickers on. Oh, we've got a special livery. You haven't.
But then ironically, Red Bull 3 years ago, the best, one of the best, Golf McLaren, stunning as well in Monaco, but that white Red Bull livery, beautiful,
lovely.
perfect,
For the Honda
special edition, superb, perfectly done, special livery. That I think there's maybe
they got AI to do it, just half-assed it again.
I think you've got it right in a sense that the livery, I think, does look cooler than the normal livery, and it's fun that it's got some vaguely Japanese styling to it. And in the same way, the Red Bull, when they've done their special liveries, where they put some vague local styling on it, the Vegas one has the cars on the side and whatever.
Cultural appropriation, though? Because some people get a bit stroppy with like people wearing sombreros and stuff. Is that not a similar kind of thing?
No, I think you can do it respectfully. I think you can see that there are common themes in Japanese art or culture or whatever, and you can reference those because you're there. I think it's a nod as much as anything. But I actually quite like the idea of a team running 24 slightly different liveries in a year. So like what McLaren have done here, where they've just got those couple of patches that they've just put a little bit of jazz in, little windows into where we're racing. I actually think that's quite cool that you could go, hey, this is our thing this year. In these spots, every weekend, we're going to have a little motif for where we're racing. And it's going to be designed by a local artist, and it's going to be in collaboration with a local charity or whatever. Cool. Don't call them special liveries. Then we're fine. I think it's almost a branding problem of you hype up special livery, and I think special livery, and I think McLaren Golf at Monaco, and I think beautiful change of colour, car looks completely different.
Yeah.
If you just called this is how we've, tweaked the livery, jazzed up the livery, made the livery, Japan ready, whatever you want to call it, nice, just bring it down a notch, is all I'll say. That's all I'll say. And I think there's the same...
like some miserable bastards, don't we?
Yeah, but I am one.
Like, it does feel like we've had 8 episodes of this where we've just moaned about bits and pieces throughout the entirety of it. But I think when you get past a certain age, and you've kind of seen this kind of stuff before, you kind of just become a little bit dull to it, don't you? And you kind of see through the crap quite quickly. Like, as you said, there could be a really nice thing. Pretty much every country in the world, I'm pretty sure, has got like a national flower.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what every national flower is, but I would imagine the one in Japan is probably those cherry blossom trees. And you can include that on your car livery, like McLaren have done. Really nice nod. Come to Silverstone, maybe put a rose on there. You go to Holland, you put a tulip on there. And then my knowledge of flowers is starting to kind of wane somewhat. However, what you've said is a really genuinely good idea, and something that could be done really easily with a couple of Lego stickers to put on kind of the inside kind of gutter of the air intake on the left-hand side of the car or something. And you just go, that's pretty, isn't it? And everyone goes, that's nice. It's not a special livery, lads.
No. Back end of the rear iPod, stick one on there. It's going to draw more attention to the sponsor in that area. And everyone could be waiting every week, like a little advent calendar for an F1 car.
That.
Every race, we're just going to peel back that layer. What is it on the McLaren this week? Oh,
it's
look,
a chocolate snowman.
It's a chocolate snowman. The chocolate's not very good, but it's better than nothing at 7 in the morning. Helmets. Lando's got a helmet. It's a helmet, I think, is where we both got to on it.
Pretty much. We'll start moaning again.
It's not like
Start
us.
moaning again. And to be honest with you, what I will say is I like the old days when you used to have your lid, and you used to know who it was because they'd get a top-down image of the car when it was going around. You'd go, oh, it's a Ferrari, it's Schumacher because it's that lid, or it's a Williams, it's Hill because it's that lid. And it never changed because probably there wasn't the money or the budgets in it, or they weren't that vain in order to want to change it every 5 minutes. But now we kind of go, like, obviously Lando's, I'll call it like a stock helmet, that almost like neon leopard print digital camo type thing with all the like Lando and 4 and LN. I think that looks the bollocks. And we had such a huge launch for it, and it's lasted 3 races, and we've got a special livery. They got too much money, AB.
They do. I assume that they're wearing a new helmet every race. I'm saying that with absolutely no knowledge, but does Lando would he have used the same helmet in Saudi and then Australia, or would he have a new version of the same painted helmet?
I don't know. I don't. I would hope that they get worn more than once because it does feel quite wasteful.
Yeah, I don't know
But
how
on the
much they
flip
are.
side to that, they can probably wear it, sell it for double the amount that they bought it for, and then the person that buys it can then sell it on for double the amount that they bought it for, and there's probably quite a nice bit of money in it, which we'll talk about F1 authentics and stuff like that in a little bit, won't we? But I mean, you'd hope not, wouldn't you? Like, you'd hope there would be more than one life out of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think there must be. I know, like, Danny Rick, his special helmet last week, I know he raffled off for one thing or another, and that's doing good with it, which is fine. But I think, I give, like, Yuki a free pass this week, obviously. It's home race. There's a reason for you to have done a special helmet. McLaren, when they did the chrome livery for whatever, fine. Put your drivers in special helmets. There's a reason behind it. I'm struggling to find the tie-in between Lando Norris, Japan, the Japanese Grand Prix, and the 7th of April or whatever day the race is on, that warrants a helmet. You know, Oscar and Danny Rick last weekend or week before, great, absolutely. Australian drivers, home race, recognise it.
Yeah.
You know, let's stick to, you know, birthdays and special occasions, shall we? I think
Good idea.
Yeah,
Good idea.
that's the one.
Says the grumpy old man in the corner.
Yeah, but I'm grumpy all the time. It's part of my charm. It's part
I'm
of my charm.
consistently grumpy, folks. Don't shout at me.
Exactly that.
Did you see? Renault are allegedly interested in potentially selling up their car. I think they've decided. I'm sure it's got nothing to do with the fact that they've created a dog egg for a car for 2024, but apparently they're looking to sell it with Andretti being the favoured buyer if it was to get that way round. Do you think F1 block Andretti that way round as well? Do you think they turn around, or maybe they've already spoken to Renault and just said, "No, you can sell it, not to Andretti though. We don't want those redneck rascallion Americans in our sport."
I feel like didn't F1 essentially leave the door open to, like, if you want a team, you buy a team, rather than, like, we're not going to expand teams. I also feel like, and I'm going to tinfoil it for a little bit, that I think there's a little bit of cahooting between the teams and F1 management that I don't think F1 management really cares. I, if anything, think they would probably welcome an 11th team. That's more social content. That's more things to flog. That's more merch. That's more everything.
Yep.
They're not taking any of the prize money. They're getting more entrance money from them. I struggle to believe personally that Formula One management actually have anything wrong with Andretti. I think they found an excuse in we're going to bring more to you than you're going to bring to us, because I think behind the scenes they've got Zach and Toto and Christian and whatnot going, no, absolutely no thanks. And they've bowed into that, because all it takes is Zach to go, well, if they're playing, I'm not playing. And as soon as that's on the table, F1 are going to go, whoa, okay, everybody just calm down. We'll tell them no, because we'll tell them we can't have two teams that start with A, and that's, we'll move on from there. So I think actually Formula One management would probably love that, because I think if they look at it and go, where is there more money for us, America or France? Yep. I feel like one of those has a slightly higher GDP than the other in terms of yeehaw money. So yeah, I think it would be a good result, I think, because you get the sense that Renault haven't really cared much about the project. I don't feel like Alpine have really I still don't know what an Alpine is, just going to throw that out there.
Well, an Alpine, I believe, is kind of like a motorsport division of Renault.
Oh dear.
So it is still technically Renault, but Renault was so uninterested in it, they just decided to call it something else. They didn't want the association. So I think that probably highlights the fact that they weren't that keen on the idea, because if you were going to create something that was going to be successful, you'd want all the bells and whistles associated to your name, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like if you made something and you decided to go, I could call it the Alex, and you went, but it is a bit shit though, so maybe I'll just call it the Brian. And if it happens so much so, I can go, well, my middle name's Brian.
Yeah.
You go, but it kind of wasn't what you set it out for, because you didn't really have the faith in it. And I think that's probably what it is. And if they're not interested in it, and maybe this year it kind of points to the fact that maybe they weren't that bothered about how they performed over the winter, then yeah, sell up, let somebody else have another go. As you said, get a new kind of merch and team and driver and information and skill set or whatever into it, and let someone else have a go for a couple of years. And if it doesn't work for them, they'll sell it to somebody else, won't they? There'll be another there'll be a Cadillac or I think they're in bed with Andretti, aren't
they're
they?
coming
Cadillac,
in.
So bad example. But
Or Cadillac would take over. Like Andretti would pull out and Cadillac would do it as a works team. Like it's. And I think Andretti, of my limited external racing knowledge, I still know of Andretti, and I see Andretti pop up in other things, and I hear about the fact that Andretti have won this and Andretti have won that, and they know what they're doing with making things with four wheels go quickly in the direction they want it to go. I can't imagine they're going to come in and just be garbage, because you can't have that much knowledge of something and then you need to do, okay, yes, F1 cars are very different to NASCARs or whatever, but the concept of moving air over a vehicle in a way that makes us quick but lets us control the thing,
yeah,
that's the same. Physics is the same everywhere. If you know about physics in aero, you're off to a good start, you know. And if all you know is fucking camembert and, you know, white wine and all the rest of it, you're maybe not in such a good position. I actually quite like France. Their food's really nice, but I just wanted to put that on the record. Speaking of merch then, you've got a curiosity. I wouldn't say bone to pick. You've got a curiosity of the world.
Yeah, pretty much every time I go on my social media thing, and it's clearly a very good and targeted advertising campaign, but I keep getting adverts for Drive Crate. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Not a sponsored segment. We'll put that out there from the start if they'd like to. Very open, lapdownpod@gmail.com. As it stands, not a sponsored segment.
Yeah, I'm not convinced they're that interested in our 3 TikTok viewers that we're getting at the moment on these reels. But nice of you to give them the option anyway, because I think that's smart. I think that's called marketing. Anyway, they keep popping up. And they're one of those things that, I think it's probably down to me actually, because I quite like a mystery box. You know, like I've ordered myself a few football shirt mystery boxes or soccer shirt mystery boxes, depending on where you are in the world. And I quite like it because it's quite fun actually, and you never really know what you're going to get. Sometimes you look at it and you go, "What the piss and heck is this?" Like I think I've had a Kenya shirt out of it, which pretty vibey to be fair. And then also I've ended up with like some indoor football team from Dallas or something. So I'm kind of I've got both ends of this spectrum. So I like the concept. However, when you go onto the Drive Crate website, firstly, if you were to subscribe for it, you can't just buy one, you have to subscribe. I guess you can probably subscribe and then cancel it. But I mean, what an inconvenience that is. Just let somebody buy one. Anyway, $38.99 for a Drive Crate. And you suddenly think, well, with the cost of Formula One merch, which we'll cover off on another episode, you think 38 quid for like a mystery box of Formula One stuff. You think, okay.
You're not getting a T-shirt for 38 quid.
Exactly. You're not going to get a cap for 38 quid. Really. Well, certainly not that hasn't been heavily discounted anyway.
Yeah, not a current one. I looked at that. Lando last year did a beautiful Lando Norris cap at one point that I was like, that's a really nice cap I'd like to own. I thought, you know what? I'll treat myself. I had committed to buying it in my own mind. I went on the website. It was £44. I closed the website. I have since kept an eye on things in case it pops up. TK Maxx sometimes get a load of F1 stuff in. Yeah. End of clearance sales. Nope, £44. No thank you.
Wow. Anyway, in this box, and this is the 2024 season preview, which I guess is the one that was gone, and they let you see the previous boxes. You can click on the thing and it goes, so in this box, almost time to welcome in the new year of racing. The 2024 season is just around the corner and we couldn't be more excited. This new season is set to be a record breaker with an incredible 24 races scheduled to take place. Never in history has the grid remained unchanged from one season to another until now. Do you think this is still blah 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 2024 blah 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 cool come out, doesn't give you anyway. And what's in this box is an official Red Bull Racing bottle.
Good start. Strong start. Metal? Insulated? Plastic?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay, good start.
Hard to say. If I was going to say, I'd guess at metal, but just because of the type of lid, but I can't be sure. A 2024 race calendar.
Never seen one of them before.
Never miss a session again. this handy race calendar feature, and then it stops. Can I click on it? Oh, I can click on it. Features all the key dates and can be hung on your wall.
Wow.
I mean, that's the bare minimum of a calendar.
That's what you're describing there, sir, is a calendar.
What the bloody hell is this? A racing-themed phone pocket.
Phone pocket.
Yes.
What is a phone pocket, please, sir? Is that not just a pocket? What you're describing is just
hang on.
Oh,
No, I've got more information. Made from vegan leather, this racing-themed phone pocket attaches effortlessly to the back of your phone or case, perfect to store your cards whilst adding a touch of motorsport.
so it's like a MagSafe wallet, but not MagSafe.
Yeah, like a bum bag for your phone.
No thanks. Strong pass.
Socks.
Okay. I quite like a jazzy sock. I don't mind like the previously Top Man RIP, $3 for £7
Yeah.
sock.
Yeah, looks like they've got rumble strips on them.
Oh, okay.
White
so
lines.
it's a plain stripy sock is what you're describing.
Yeah. And finally, a packet of, and it doesn't tell you how big the packet is, of Hungarian mini bananas.
Didn't know the Hungarians were famous for tropical fruits.
Probably not the climate for them.
No.
But I have been to Iceland,
No.
actually, and they do grow bananas in Iceland. So
Do they?
yeah, they do.
Interesting.
Big greenhouses.
Wouldn't
So I
have guessed
suspect
that.
if they can do it there, then I reckon Hungary will be able to do them. Anyway, it's one of those things that it's kept popping up and it's kept tickling my fancy, and I've kept thinking, oh, do you know what? It would be quite fun one week to actually give it a go. But I don't think it will be.
No, I don't think there's... You almost need, for that to work really well as a concept, as someone that's sort of... I'm an F1 fan and I have some people that I prefer to win.
Yeah.
If there was a like what you did with the shirts thing, if I could have like a last year's merch mystery box that was even 50 quid, but I knew it was going to have a cap, a shirt, and, some other tat in it,
Yep.
but it might be a Haas t-shirt and a, McLaren cap, great. Fine, I'm up with that because I'm quite happy to wear a Haas shirt to the gym or go for a run or whatever. I'm not that picky about my teams. I prefer it to be McLaren. I'd probably do that. I don't want a random drink bottle, and I feel like you're going to get a lot of keychains. My vibe is keychain.
I think that's the thing. That's the vibe I've picked up. I've picked up tat. And I feel like that's exactly what that is. And I mean, maybe there is a gap in the market, AB, and maybe that's something that we potentially branch out onto with Lapdown. I don't know why either one of us would want to actually kind of take any of the logistics up or the work for it, but maybe Formula One merch mystery boxes are actually they're a way to go, because I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. Probably wouldn't be able to do anything this season because, as you alluded to with Lando's hat, it is very expensive, and I don't think we'd make a single penny. But actually, if we sold stuff from last year, it could work.
Idea, brand name, mystery box.
Oh, hello. See, this is why you get
Lock
paid
it
the
in.
big bucks on this production, AB.
This is why they pay me the medium bucks. I did see as well, just to wrap up on the merch chat, there's seemingly two levels of F1 merch. You can either go sort of tat end with drink bottles and keychains and whatnot, or you can spend £1,000 and receive £1 in change for an F1 Authentics mystery box, which I would have to have so much money to be spending £1,000 on a mystery box of anything. And it's something that I've seen this a lot, and this is not me at all having a go at F1 Authentics. I'm sure they're fine, and I'm very also sure there are people that enjoy this sort of thing. But I would be curious to know, like, I saw a TikTok of someone opening one of these, and they spent £1,000 on it, and they got like a gear from inside the gearbox of a car. They got a piece of bodywork that was genuinely, I think it was like 3 or 4 centimeter square piece of bodywork in some perspex. It was, I mean, it didn't look cool. I know it's cool in concept. You've got part of a race car, great, but it's not a cool item. And it's not a cool item to display because people walk past and go, what's that? Oh, it's a very, very small part of really quite a large car that I didn't have anything to do with. That I would kind of get it if at the end of the season, Red Bull chopped up Max's car into however many bits there are employees at that team and gave them all a piece of the car that they worked on to win. That's cute. That holds meaning. I can display that. People can go, what's that random thing over there? Oh, that's part of the car that I helped design that won the championship by, 18 races. I just don't get owning that. And you see people buy like whole side pods. What are you going to do with a 2021 race-used Force India Lance Stroll side pod? What? What is that for? What do you use it for storage? I don't get it.
I don't know.
Throw me F1 socks in me side pod as a laundry basket.
Well, carbon fibre is quite sharp as well.
Carbon fibre.
And I don't think it's the greatest thing to inhale either. So, just to have like these odds and sods bits just laying about, surely for £1,000. And I've had a little bit of a look around, and I don't really know why you'd want Stoffel Van Dorn worn race suit either.
Stoffel Van Worn?
Exactly, but that's like 380 quid.
Yeah.
At least, if you were the same size of Stoffel, you would be able to repurpose that in some way, shape, or form.
Sim racing.
But sim racing, go-karting, fancy dress. Maybe you wanted to kind of, if you were a really kind of creative person, you could maybe turn it into a jacket or something like that. There'd be ways of means of making something quite interesting with that. It's pretty unlikely you're either going to build a Formula One car up around Lance Stroll's damaged side, because it's probably going to be damaged with its Lance, damaged side pod, or I don't necessarily know whether it directly kind of is a plug-and-play thing onto the left-hand side of your Ford Fiesta.
No, it's not going to go quicker. It's not going to go quicker, is it? I think it's probably going to slow you down, to be honest. I also think you're probably taking it off. You're going to drive like down a road. You're going to drive down a terrace house road and be scraping that all the way down. I just think if I had £1,000 I was willing to spend on F1 bits and merch, I'm going to go shopping with that for specifically Lance Stroll's gloves. I'm not just going to go mystery box where I might get Lance Stroll's gloves. I just think that's the way. But also,
depending on how the Alpine sales goes, I mean, maybe you could pick up a Formula One team for £1,000.
What team was it? There was a team where there was a full... The Aston Martin, they auctioned off their entire old building when they moved into this new one. You could buy an Aston Martin toilet. Didn't need one. Thought about it.
The world's quickest piss.
Would prefer an Aston Martin toilet to a Lance Stroll 2021 Force India side pod, but
close to the same thing, to be fair.
Very similar.
Not
very
far away.
similar.
But imagine strapping it to the side of your Ford Fiesta, taking it to Tesco's, getting home and going, fuck's sake, somebody's opened their fucking door into the side of my Lance Stroll side pod. I've wasted £1,000 on my mystery box now.
I don't feel like they're particularly resilient, either of these side pods. You seem to breathe on them and they get a hole in them. But
no.
Hey ho. Right, let's pray for good racing on Sunday. Dan Jads will be back next week. Probably an early one next week, because your boy is off to scout Madrid F1 Grand Prix locations.
Oh, hello.
I'll take some pictures at a roundabout in a warehouse and I'll send them back to Stefano. Prediction me, Dan, very quickly to finish it off. Who's finishing second? Who's the people's champion?
Big Charles.
Oh, okie dokie. Go on, Charles, my boy. I'm going to give it to Lando. I think he's got a new paint job. It's going to make him quicker. And the helmet's quick because it's pink. And that's
still not how it works.
Okay, that's a shame. Where can they find you on the internet, Mr. Jads?
At Dan Jads. Find me there.
Go on there. It's mainly going to be crickety stuff. You can go find him there. You can find me on, what am I on these days? Twitter, Insta. At Alex Type there. You can find me on Twitch. Hey, look, it's Alex. You can come watch me play games. If you want to get in touch with the pod, lapdownpod@gmail.com. You can send us an email. You can find us on. Please go and watch the TikToks, because we've, for some reason, been shadow banned by TikTok. No one's watching them recently. Lapdownpod on there. We're on YouTube as well. They've been really nicely received on there. And yeah, comment and we'll go back and forward. But fingers crossed for Suzuka. That's all we can say. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Cheerio.